First of all, I want to thank R.I.P.T.A for participating in a lot of new bus parking rides in the Portsmouth area. Mark has been very helpful to us, and we're still working on one with the Rhode Island Bridge and Turnpike Authority. Hopefully we can get that one going, but it's important that we do. I think you may have heard my question to John Paul concerning the projected budget deficit that you have, and what do you have, or what are your plans to try to help that eliminate that deficit?
I'm going to address that. I'm going to address that question by giving you a two-part answer. For 2011, I think we projected approximately $4.7 million in deficits. We were able to bridge some of them using the stimulus fund, I think up to the tune of $3 million. However, we did do some things internally. We deferred a lot of the open positions just to make sure we are consistent with the budget, with our budget realities. Also, we took away what I call soft costs. These are basically overhead costs, just to help us get through a revenue budget for 2011. Now, going to 2012, the reality is that the stimulus funds, which helped us a lot for this particular fiscal year, is no longer available for next year. However, staff is still working towards doing some things to help reduce the projected $6.6 million, I think $6.6 million deficit for 2012. Some of those applications include, we have a proposal that will be going to the board in a couple of weeks, asking to actually eliminate all of the open positions currently that are not filled at R.I.P.T.A. And I do believe we will get approximately $1 million in terms of savings from that. And we are beginning to look internally to see what efficiencies that we could harness in terms of changing the way we work. And I think those are going to get us another $400,000, about another $600,000 added to the $1 million that we hope to take off. The reason for doing all of this is that I just don't want to broach the issue of even making any proposal that will reduce service on the street. The point of the matter is, given the cost of fuel going up for everybody, we'd expect that the pressures on the system is going to be increased, and this will be the very wrong time and a very counterintuitive way to propose service cuts when we'd expect the ridership to rise.
So you don't anticipate any fare increases? You don't anticipate any cutbacks in the core service routes?
No, none of our proposals currently has any fare increases, and I'm going back to the fact that R.I.P.T.A just raised fares, and Rhode Island currently ranks at one of the highest fare states in the nation in terms of paying to ride. And when you look at the fare box recovery for Rhode Island, we also rank at the top. We, in essence, the riders in Rhode Island pay more for their service than, most of the system in the country. So right now we have no proposals at all that talks about raising fares.
Now, your fuel costs must be, are they at a market rate? Do you have storage facilities where you store fuel, or how do you buy your fuel? Or?
Well, we buy fuel based on need, actually. So we don't store for the rainy day. We may get enough fuel for the week, and we replenish as it goes down, depending on the market price. However, sometimes we get the opportunity to lock in, whereby we're locking at a price for 12 months. For this fiscal year, that opportunity was never there because we were always, our lock-in price, our budget lock-in price was always lower than what the market could provide. And it becomes a catch-22. You have to go back to the board, get a new rate, and by the time you go back to the market, it's gone up again, which is just our reality. So we're just waiting for those prices to come down reasonably to give us the opportunity to lock in again.
So you have to actually go back before your board if you're going to purchase fuel? Or you just can't go, is that the way, is that what I just heard you say?
That's correct. What may seem to be insignificant to a lot of people, we use approximately 2.7 million gallons of fuel yearly. And, a penny difference in the cost of diesel fuel is a couple $100,000. So we have to go back to the board to set the rate for the lock-in price, and then go back to the market and lock in.
What about alternative fuels? Have you looked into any plans for alternative fuels? Or
Why, it seemed like you're reading our minds. I just I spoke to Mark about it. We are looking at bringing in some alternative fuel to see how much benefits we can get from that. Also, we've taken delivery of some hybrid buses, and it's our estimation that we will get maybe 2 extra miles to a gallon for each hybrid bus that is added to the system. So over time, we don't have any figures for you right now, but I think over time, we should be able to come back and let you know exactly how much savings in terms of diesel fuel consumption that we are getting from these hybrid buses.
I know you're relatively new, and obviously we welcome you to the state of Rhode Island, but if you look at all of the bus routes, it seems like everything comes into the Providence, the Kennedy Plaza area. Have you taken a look at the Kennedy Plaza area? Is there anything new that you would like to see there, or anything that we could be doing better at the Kennedy Plaza area?
From my perspective, we can always do better at most of the things that we do, and that is what re-engineering is all about. The issue of looking at the routes, in fact, at my meeting with the governor 2 days ago, that was one of the topics of discussion. What we would like to do is eventually conduct what I call a comprehensive operational analysis that is going to look at the entire system. Our system was designed for a long time ago, and it's been the same. Demographics change, people move, things change, but the system is remained the same. I think it's about time for us to go back out, take another look at the system, and make sure that we are actually taking people from where they live to where they want to go, and not having people make the adjustments because of the service system, the way it's deployed. So yes, we're taking a look at that, and like I said, that was part of my conversations at a meeting with the governor just 2 days ago.
And Director Lewis came up with a proposal, obviously, to help with the roadways and as far as tolling. Have you looked at any plans and long-term plans to help reduce the deficit besides what you've outlined before? Are there any long-term goals or any other types of things that you rely heavily on the gas tax right now as far as your funding source? Is there anything else out there that you've been looking at to try to help fund R.I.P.T.A?
In terms of sustainable funding, I know the Senate has a committee that is chaired by Senator Pichara looking at sustainable funding for transportation, and I'm really hopeful that the outcome of that committee's studies will be, some kind of a funding source that will make our revenues more stable going forward. However, we are very limited to what we can look at internally. And the reason I say that is 85% of our costs are human resources, and then fuel. So again, a majority of our expenses has to do with employees, wages and benefits, and then fuel. We are trying our best to kind of reduce our operating costs based on reducing soft costs. But whenever you start delving into wage issues and employee issues, these have direct repercussion to the service on the street, and that's why we're not even looking in those directions. Because like I said before, proposing service cuts at this point when we are anticipating increased ridership wouldn't be the best way to go. So I'm hoping that the Committee on Sustainable Funding will come up with some better solutions to help us over time or moving forward to support not just our current service, but some of the initiatives that we've developed, given the strategic plan, the core connector programs, and other programs that we have decided to undertake.
Now you have three separate employee bargaining units, and all of the contracts have expired?
Yes. The drivers and the mechanics, which is the 618 contract, those negotiations are completed. And if I remember correctly, it added approximately 1.3 million? Yeah, it added about another 1.3 million to our costs due to the arbitration award that happened after the negotiations. We are currently working with 618A on their negotiations, and we still have an outstanding expired 808 negotiations to go through. So, yes, one down, but two more to go.